Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel over here at Broke Boy Gaming. Today, we're doing a very special podcast talking about a lot of movies, films, and just everything in between. My name is Christian, and today I am joined with two of my good friends. We have Harlan.
Hello,
and-
how's everybody doing out there?
Nice pronunciation.
Thank you. I butchered his name. I was like,
It's all right.
Harlem, and no one said anything at all during the
Dude, I
8th
didn't
grade
even
movie
hear you.
review.
I thought it was fine.
Didn't want to ruin the flow.
And then
Yeah.
we have Devin, aka Dev Dog, with us today as well. Thank you
Hey.
both for, coming on and talking about
My
some
pleasure.
fun stuff. There's just so many things to talk about.
We enjoy movies like normal people.
Yeah.
Yes, I, as a normal person, enjoy movies.
Right. This is more of the film pop culture side of Broke Boy Gaming. We will still be pumping out gaming content. It's just that movie reviews and TV, talk is a little bit more accessible, since we don't, own every game in the world and we don't necessarily do movie reviews. But we will be doing a Monster Hunter First Impressions on PC podcast sometime in the future. But for today, we're talking about some films. So, let's talk about Movie Pass. Just get it out of the way because
Oh, dear.
it has been quite the roller coaster ride.
Boner killer.
Like,
Absolutely.
I don't know what to think. For a while, I mean, first they introduced it was fine for a little bit. They reinstated the unlimited pass where you can see one movie per day. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, that's fine. And then out of nowhere, they added, surcharges.
Yeah, price or peak price.
Yeah,
like-
Well,
Peak
it wasn't
prices.
out of nowhere, but it was still just
Right. Well, I mean,
Annoying.
yeah. And then now, during the Mission Impossible opening weekend, they decided to block, big movie titles from Movie Pass subscribers from seeing it for like the first 2 weeks, which was kind of annoying because I went to go see it, paid my own money to go see it. I didn't understand why it was, grayed out on my movie app in itself, and it was just kind of weird. But I don't know. What do you guys think about this overall?
I think that this is further indication that Movie Pass is it's downward spiral. I think we're at the end of the road, guys. I think this is the last stop.
yeah. It's completely up in the air right now.
Yeah.
Whether it's gonna keep going.
A funny thing that I've noticed that Movie Pass is doing currently, of course, this is a few weeks after the Mission Impossible fiasco, in which they did make the movie. They do every popular release is available like 1.5 to 2 weeks after it's being released, which is fine if the theaters even keep it for that long.
But now indie movies aren't even available. Like I wanted
Yeah,
to see
it's
Black
dreadful.
Klansman,
Like,
and
you
I
can
was like,
pick between
it's
two
not
movies.
there.
Although I will tell you what Movie Pass is doing. I woke up pretty early this morning. For me, I woke up around 8:30. And yeah, which is early for me.
Yeah.
But that's before all the movie theaters near me open, and Movie Pass actually allows you to reserve tickets in the morning for whatever movie that you want to see.
I did not
But-
know that.
Well, it's funny because you have to go to the theater within 30 minutes of you placing the order in on your app. So
Oh.
the movies are all there until about 30 minutes before the theater opens, in which it scrunches down so you can only see The Meg and The Spy Who Loved Me or The Spy Who Dumped Me and
Yeah, there were two options for me this
Yeah.
whole weekend.
That actually happened with me with Christopher Robin, because I checked in the morning to see if it was grayed out. Because at first I thought it was just Mission Impossible, because when Avengers Infinity War came out, that's when they started implementing you can't do repeat viewings. And I was like, okay. I checked for Christopher Robin. It wasn't grayed out. I was like, all right, perfect. I'll go buy my ticket during my lunch break, and I'll go see the movie after lunch. And once I went over to the theater and went to go check in, that motherfucker was grayed out. So
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? Like, I mean, I still went to, I still paid for the movie out of pocket, but I'm like, I'm paying for this every month, and I can't even watch a movie opening weekend. And they're like, oh, well, we didn't realize how popular this is going to be. I'm like, you pretty much gave every moviegoer and non-moviegoer like a dream come true. Like that's a
Exactly.
really good deal. Like, what
The
do you
thing
think
is
was gonna
about
happen?
the morning showings or the morning opportunities, they're giving the false illusion that you can actually go out throughout the day, which I think is still a ploy to get people to go and see the movies no matter what if they don't check their app again later in the day before they see the film,
Right.
which I think is pretty interesting. I think that the service would still be as successful if they raised the price of the base level to $20. I
Yeah, just
certainly
double the
feel
price and
like
go
I
back
would.
to unlimited movies, and everyone
Yeah.
will be happy still. I
Are they
guarantee
even
it.
gaining like? Are they even making a profit if they
Oh hell no, they're not making any
Absolutely
profit.
not. I think the
even
shares
if
of
they?
MoviePass are down to 5 cents a
Oh
share.
wow, that's
It's
insane.
dreadful.
That's very insane.
Their business model is just never going to make money unless they got an insane user base.
I mean, I feel like they do. It's just I don't know. I mean, people have been, people are upset about it. I understand. I mean, I went to go see Mission Impossible. I'm not a really big Tom Cruise fan, but I'm not really a big spy fan either. Like I enjoyed it. It had good action scenes and everything like that. But it was just kind of annoying because like I have this movie pass. Like I was seeing at least 3 to 4 movies a month. I might not be doing that anymore. Maybe.
There aren't 3 or 4 movies available anymore.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, oh my gosh. When I went to go see Teen Titans go to the movies, like that peak charging happens. I don't know how because there was only 6 of us in the theater. So I'm like, oh yeah, people were lining up to see this. It was a good movie, by the way.
I had a surcharge when I wanted to go see Teen Titans last Monday. And there was a surcharge of $4.88, and my theater does $5 tickets Mondays. So
Nice 12-cent savings.
12-cent.
Oh man,
discount.
you're
So I
racking up the
didn't see
bells.
film. Yeah, I did not see the movie.
He said so. I turned
Listen,
around and
if
went
I'm not
home.
making a $1 profit at least, then it's not worth it. But
I
they
was
are
gonna-
rolling out the new plan come the next billing cycle, which I think they're going to revert back to their old. You can see any movie anytime. Just
I
only
really hope so. I'm still fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like 2 weeks. It's whatever because people normally go see the movies on the weekends anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But like, I guess from like a YouTuber perspective, I mean, not for us because we kind of just do this for fun because we enjoy it, but for like the bigger movie review channels in general, they kind of like this is kind of perfect for them because they get to go see the movie, opening weekend. They get to talk about it, make a video, boom, reviews up, whatever. But I mean, they'll probably still go see the movie. Obviously, they decide to pay out of pocket instead of using Movie Pass, but it kind of sucks. But I don't understand what Movie Pass was thinking. They're like, yeah, just we weren't really expecting this kind of traction. I'm like, I haven't gone to like, I started going to the movies so much more since I got Movie Pass. I mean, this year in general has been like packed full of like amazing movies and still more to come throughout the end of the year. But I don't know, it's just been a really big roller coaster ride for.
It was always too good to be true. Like I don't have any ill will towards Movie Pass though.
I don't either. I actually
respect.
want them to make a profit. Like I want them to succeed because this is a great idea.
They took money from venture capitalists and put it into consumers' hands to go see movies for free. Like that's like a Robin Hood-esque story right there. That's amazing.
I mean, it's better, and it's better than any other movie pass that's out there for like AMC, and I think Regal or Cinemark has their own as well. But I still think it's more bang for your buck because like I don't really buy that many concessions when I go to the movies. I just pick up a pack of Twizzlers at the concession stand, and that's about it.
Well, I was under the impression that the movie theater chains were also big on Movie Pass because when you're in places,
there's no reason for them not to be.
Yeah, when you're
they
in
don't
places
lose any
like
money.
New York and LA and Chicago, where movie tickets are even upwards of $10 for the evening showings, maybe people are going to spend that extra money towards the concessions. That was always my interpretation, that it wasn't venture capitalists, it was cinema chains trying to reinforce the concession industry. But
concession industry.
Yeah, that popcorn costs 2 cents to make, and you're gonna charge me $6.50.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I can't justify it. I mean, I remember when Devin, myself, and oh my gosh, what was it? Dakota, when the first Avengers came out, we kind of like snuck food in.
Oh
Not just
boy.
any food, Harlan. It was Wendy's food.
He
Oh.
stuck a chicken sandwich in his jean legs
Jesus.
because he didn't have pockets,
Dakota snuck in two like
and he
chicken
had
wraps.
ranch leaking down the side of his leg.
It was so bad. He was like, Christian, it's oozing. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, my pants, like, he's like, my chicken wraps, they're just oozing out all this ranch. I'm like, this is so gross. But there's a Wendy's right next to the theater when we were younger, so it's like, why wouldn't we? And like, we didn't really have time to eat and then go see the movie. We're like, well, we'll just eat in the movie theater. So I don't know.
Well, that's a good transition into our possible next topic.
Oh yeah, so well, okay, so like, you want to transition into the top 5 Marvel movies, or do you want to transition into James Gunn?
Either one.
Let's start with the Marvel movies.
Let's go top 5.
Yeah. Let's do top 5. So the rules for this top 5, for all of our viewers out there, you know, we're gonna name our top 5 favorite Marvel MCU movies. But the only gist is that you can't choose Infinity War, because honestly, it would probably just be like a top 4 at that point. So we'll start with Devin. Well, top 5 favorite Marvel MCU movies of all time.
Should
Yeah,
we go everybody's list, or should we all say our 5, then our 4?
Yeah, I said we all go one by one.
Okay, yeah, let's do one by one. So we'll start at number 5. And
Yeah, I'm about to make a perfect transition for you because my number 5 is the original Avengers.
Oh man,
you were talking about us going to sneak in Wendy's and see that's some good memories for that movie.
it was
But yeah,
such a good movie.
It's the OG Marvel movie. It's the one that brought everyone together and proved that an ensemble cast can work for a superhero movie. It was very well done for the time. No one really knew what to expect, but it all came together beautifully. And yeah, it's just a very enjoyable, fun movie.
That is true, because honestly, if you really think about it, that the first Avengers, a movie like that had never been done before, especially with everything from Phase 1 was Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and then the Avengers itself. So all of those kind of tying in together, even though we lost Nolan as the Incredible Hulk, but got Mark Ruffalo, so I think that was actually a better trade, because I can't picture anyone else being the Hulk besides Mark Ruffalo. Like, I think he's just perfect overall.
Mm-hmm.
But Harlan, what is your number 5, the bottom of your list?
To all the viewers at home, I'm not what you would call a Marvel fan. I'll go out and see maybe a film here or there. Marvel's not usually at the top of my list, so I've actually seen 9 of the 20 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
Okay.
So I'm almost halfway there. I'm almost at a 50%. But my number 5 is Captain America: The First Avenger. Now, I can imagine that this is not anyone's favorite movie, or probably, if you've seen all of them, for a true fan, it's not anywhere near the top 5. But I really think that I'm a sucker for the 40s and for period pieces. So I was a big fan of the action scenes were very interesting and very unique, and it has the whole movie itself has a different visual style than the rest of the cinematic universe. This is before they really sort of were cranking them out like toys on an assembly line, I feel. So I think that there's inspired direction. I think Chris Evans is excellent as Captain America, and I think this is one of the earlier movies where you can really dive deeper into their characters, and they're not already established, so you learn a little bit more about who they are and what their wants and their needs are. So
yeah,
I
will say Red Skull is definitely one of the most underrated villains.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I totally forgot. Hugo Weaving is excellent, and also Nazis are in it. Nazis are great.
Yes,
I take that back. Nazis aren't great.
Everyone loves Nazis.
Everybody hates Nazis. Everybody loves to hate Nazis.
As long as they lose, it's okay.
Yes, exactly.
That is true, huh? Yeah, I can't say that. I can't say the first Captain America was anywhere near my favorite, but I mean, I went to go see it in the theaters. I was like, okay, but like, I know that Captain America, like, obviously he's a popular Marvel movie, Marvel superhero, but I guess like in the comics, from what I've heard and from what I watched videos about him, because I haven't really read any comics about him. He's more, obviously Chris Evans plays a great Captain America, more like the Boy Scouts, you know, Johnny
Hmm.
Boy Scout kind of do gooder, whatnot, but kind of, spirals into a little bit of question of morality as his journey goes on. But all right, so for my number five, it was between the first Guardians of the Galaxy, because I just thought that the soundtrack was fantastic, but I'm actually going to choose, and it's going to be Age of Ultron, the second Marvel movie. And I understand that I'm probably like, I belong to like,
Second Avengers movie.
yeah. Well, I mean, right. So I mean, obviously, Age of Ultron would be my number five, but like, I belong to like the 30% of people out there who like the movie. I love the first Avengers movie, but I felt like there was more action in the second, the second Avengers movie. And you get Elizabeth Olsen, man. I mean, this is really getting. It doesn't get better than that. I was like,
James Spader
oh.
was great as Ultron. His voice is
Yes.
just so
Yeah,
perfect.
and like, I mean, his motives, his philosophies, and everything. Like, it really did make me think. And I mean, probably my favorite part of the entire movie was when they're all like sitting around, like trying to pick up Thor's hammer, and Captain America kind of nudges it for a second, and Thor's like, and he's like, oh no, never mind, he's fine, he's all good. But I know a lot of people didn't really care for like the Hulk and Scarlett Johansson, aka, God, I'm drawing a blank on her name, Black Widow.
Black Widow.
It's been a long day. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was kind of random because I always thought that like Cap and Black Widow had more of a relationship, but yeah, overall,
Also, Hawkeye is a family.
Yeah.
yeah, a very attractive family.
Absolutely.
Like when I saw that, I was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "He's still living out in the countryside." Oh, she'll help me set this up. Yeah, okay.
It's the girl from Freaks and Geeks, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Also, Daphne from Velma from the live action Scooby Doo movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Holy crap, I totally forgot about that. Wow, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. But yeah, that is my number five, is Age of Ultron. I mean, and the beginning was just great, the banter going back and forth, and everyone's cussing and Cap's like, language. And Iron Man giving him a hard time. But yeah, that is my number five. So I guess we'll start back up the top with Devin. What is your number four?
Number four. I'm going with
Oh.
Captain America: Civil War.
Oh, you got me excited.
Woohoo! Oh, you thought you thought
Not going for a soldier. Sorry, buddy.
Well, okay. I love the Winter Soldier, but Civil War is
It's just the Russo brothers were able to make a political drama out of a superhero movie.
literally.
It was kind of crazy to think about, but
I actually just watched it yesterday.
it was awesome seeing Cap and Iron Man fight each other, obviously, and then it's the introduction of Spider-Man, which is great because
And Black Panther.
yeah, Spider-Man's actually likable now.
His own age.
Yeah.
Relatable.
But yeah,
If we were allowing Spider-Man 3, that would be my number one.
Oh my god. I mean,
to go on this.
if you want. Yeah, Harlan loves Spider-Man 3.
We gotta have a whole episode devoted to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy.
You
I'm
know
telling
what?
you.
there's a lot to dig in
You
there.
know what? Let's do it. We will do it. Absolutely. I'm totally okay with that. But was there anything else you wanted to add, Devin, to your
Yeah, that airport fighting scene was pretty epic.
I
at the
think
time.
that was honestly the best fighting sequence I've seen in a movie, possibly ever.
until Infinity War.
Right. But yeah, it was great. It was well thought out. Even the fight between Cap and Iron Man and Bucky towards the very end of the movie was just amazing. And honestly, all right, I'll sorry. Civil War is on my list. It's higher up on my list. So
Yeah, we can dive in a little more if you
yeah, I'll
want to.
dive in.
when it gets there.
But Harlan, what is your number 4?
Well,
list.
Civil War is not making an appearance on my list as I have not seen that film. But you know what I have seen?
Harlan,
I
you
have seen
love
Ant-Man and
it.
the Wasp, and that's my
Hey.
number 4.
Hey, Man in the Wasp.
Little
There we go.
recency bias going on there. I like
Hey,
it.
I mean, let me tell you this. I love that. You know what? I'm not going to spoil anything. Ant-Man and the Wasp is an excellent buddy comedy movie. All the supporting roles in this
it
movie,
fits. It fits
it's
perfectly.
star-studded. You got Lawrence Fishburne, Michelle Pfeiffer, Randall Park. I think is the
He stole the show
he's
along
the
with
hilarious, he's the best character in that whole movie. I mean,
along with what's his name? The
Michael Pena
yeah,
is excellent.
They both stole the show. They were just
Yeah.
too funny.
And also, Walton Goggins is in a little bit for a little while. And I mean, I loved him on Justified. I mean, he is an excellent character actor, and I thought everyone was giving it their all in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And although it's kind of silly and it's on a very small scale, I like that aspect. It's not everybody's teaming up to save the world or stop a big robot or a big laser.
Yeah,
beam
it was
in the sky, or
contained.
We're
Nice
going
and
to space.
contained.
No, it's small.
We're going to
Literally, it's
space.
contained. It's a tight story, and although it's a little convoluted, it's just a solid, enjoyable romp. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
And to add on to that, the after credit scene is the best in the
Yeah,
cinematic universe.
For the record, I haven't even seen Infinity War. I mean, I know all the Thanos memes where he snaps in his fingers and then everybody disappears or disintegrates or whatever. Don't get mad at me. But I felt that in the theater. I just didn't see it coming.
Everyone was shocked. Everyone was looking around like,
It was
what?
awe-inspiring. It was insane.
Yeah, I know a lot. There were a few people who said that they didn't really care for it, but I don't understand because I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought it was better than the first movie in itself. And
All right, well, let's not get carried away.
Probably my favorite scene from Ant-Man and the Wasp was when, Ant-Man goes into his daughter's school to steal the
I love when he gets short.
the trophy because the suit's like
Very cool.
underneath like the bottom of it, but he's like halfway small like a child, and it's just like
just running around like a little child.
They're like, stop! And he's just like freezes and he runs. He's like, yeah! And just runs down the hallway. I was like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, that's a great pick for number 4. So for my number 4, I'm going with the OG of the OGs, and that is Iron Man 1.
Oh,
Love that movie through and
classic.
through. Because I remember seeing O'Devin and his dad. I had this huge BFC monster can with me for whatever reason. I was just super hyped. And I mean, I've heard about Iron Man before, but this was Marvel's first take at their own universe, and they weren't sure how well it was going to perform. And Robert Downey Jr. obviously just killed the role, and it made me fall in love with Iron Man as a superhero overall. And it's just everything from it, from the villain to how he builds his own suit, the chemistry that he had with the doctor. With that, I forgot the doctor's name when he was in the middle of like Afghanistan. I don't know, Middle East in general, and I just thought it was great. He fucking buzzes out with this like prototype OG Iron Man suit on, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm getting the hell out of here. Like, I want a cheeseburger, an American cheeseburger, and I want to go home." So that's pretty much why I love that movie. I have it on Blu-ray. It's fantastic. Yeah, Devin, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh God.
Taika Waititi pulled off the impossible.
You really did.
He made Thor semi-relatable. He made him likable. He made him funny, and made him one of the best characters in the MCU moving forward. The first 2 Thor movies were heaping shit piles that just were not enjoyable at all, and were taking themselves way too seriously.
You don't like Natalie Portman?
Right.
What?
I do love Natalie Portman, but Thor: Dark World.
It's the most forgettable movie of all time.
It's hot garbage.
You don't like Malekith?
No, I don't. He didn't do anything.
I mean,
You don't
Yeah.
like the Dark Elves as Svartalfheim? For the record, I have not seen Thor Ragnarok. I mean Thor: The Dark World. I'm just
Oh
looking
my
at
you
the
God.
don't
Wikipedia
need
page.
to. You're not missing
Don't.
anything.
Please don't.
You honestly just look up the synopsis on like IMDb and you're fine. You're caught up with the movie. There you go.
But yeah, Ragnarok's just like the perfect, fun. It's almost like a buddy cop movie. You got Hulk and Thor hanging out. It's just so much fun. And then you get Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum. That's
I got
amazing.
you. And actually, number 3 is for mine is Thor Ragnarok as well, and just kind
Oh,
of wanted to just throw that out there to kind of, I didn't want to go to Harlan and then back to me like, oh yeah, Thor Ragnarok's mine too.
That's fine.
yeah, it makes sense.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it was
just-
great. Tessa Thompson, even though she put on a pretty great like fake British accent. I thought that she was British, but she is not. But very hot, absolutely. And
course.
she has a drinking problem, which is pretty cool.
Thank you for
And
that
Cole-
analytical analysis of Thor Ragnarok.
Well, like I mean, okay, like you have Korg. He's like, hey, my name's Korg. I'm made out of rocks.
Korg's such a funny character, voiced by Taika Waititi. By the way, fun fact.
He was like, I love the interaction between him and Thor when Thor's trying to explain like how much his hammer meant to him, and he's like, I had this hammer. And he's like, oh my god, you rode a hammer? He's like, their hammer rode you. He's like, no. He's like, I would twirl the hammer and it would pull me off. He's like, oh my god, the hammer pulled
The
you
hammer
off.
pulled you off.
And he's like, sounds like you had a very intimate relationship with this hammer that is equivalent of losing a loved one. And he's like, yeah. So it was great. It was hysterical overall. I mean, I always loved Loki as a villain too. So I think the chemistry between everyone on that movie was fantastic. Now, moving on to number 3, Harlan, what is your number 3?
Well, I have in fact seen Thor Ragnarok,
Oh.
and it is probably my least favorite of the ones
Gas.
that I've seen.
I'm leaving.
But I'm not gonna get into that this episode.
It's
I have
okay. It's all
many
right. We all have
choice
our own
words
opinions.
to say about that movie, but my number 3 is a movie that I did not think I was going to like, because as much of a fan I am of Sam Raimi and his Spider-Man trilogy, especially the third one,
Why?
I found myself enjoying Spider-Man Homecoming quite a bit. I think that it, like Ant-Man, isn't really the fate of the world is not resting on Spider-Man's shoulders throughout
Right.
the majority of the movie. I think that the whole action scene regarding the Washington Monument is hilarious and just entirely it's fun. The movie oozes fun, and Michael Keaton is playing a bird super being again, and that's always fun. I loved him in Birdman and Batman and everything. And Zendaya's in it, and she doesn't suck. And
Does not suck at all.
Gambino is in it, and I'm just naming people who are in it, but I really found this movie to be super engaging and fun and lively, and something that I don't even think Sam Raimi really got to in the real. Because let's be honest, Tobey Maguire is not a high school student. Tobey Maguire is a 30-year-old dude just
Yeah, he's
walking
part of the
I
around
Pussy
think,
with
I think he
one
was
train.
set in his
He's part of the
college
Pussy
years.
Posse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're totally right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for that's right. Well, when they did Spider-Man
for
him.
Spider-Man 3. Yeah, but even though Tom Holland, he looks and feels and portrays a high schooler very well, and I think that's
That
the
accent
key.
is great too.
Yeah, that's
American
the
Oh
accent.
yeah, his
to a
American
Spider-Man
accent's
movie.
fantastic. Unlike Sophie Turner's, but we won't get into that.
It's a very balanced movie. It's a very energetic movie, and I can't wait to see the sequel. I think it's may supersede this one in the future.
Oh, absolutely. So, wait, did I do my? Okay, so yeah, I did my number 3. Devin did his number 3. I'm actually gonna segue. Yeah, Devin, you did your number 3, right? Yeah, we just did Ragnarok.
Yeah, we're on to
Yeah.
2.
All right, so actually, my number 2 is Homecoming. So there's actually
Hey.
kind of nice
Oh,
little transition there. I've loved the movie, like honestly, because I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. I was busy with college and fraternity matters and school in general, so I wasn't able to go see it. But when I did see it via my Fire TV, Joe Rogan, of course. I mean, obviously, but when I saw it, I automatically fell in love with it because they didn't do the Uncle Ben death for like the upteenth time. And I was like, I swear to God, if they do this Uncle Ben death like one more time, I'm just gonna lose it because I love Sam Raimi's his original trilogy. I love Spider-Man 3 when I was a kid. I haven't really seen it since, so I need to go back and form a more current opinion. But I did not like The Amazing Spider-Man whatsoever. So when I saw Homecoming, it blew me away. I was like, who is this kid? He's perfect. And it's just everything that I ever dreamed of. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. He's extremely relatable to pretty much any teenager. He's a geek, just like a bunch of us are. He reads books, he builds computers, and he makes his own webs and his own web formula and whatnot. And yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was hysterical. They didn't really yeah, Flash was kind of a dick, but he was more of like a pushover kind of sort of. I mean, we had Donald Glover. And another thing I liked about the movie is that they pretty much tied in Miles Morales, Spider-Man, into the universe because Danny Glover. Sorry, I don't know why I said
Donald.
Donald.
Yes.
Glover. Oh my gosh, I'm
Danny
losing
Glover
it today.
70.
I'm losing it today. So Donald Glover, he actually is the uncle of Miles Morales,
The Prowler.
the Prowler. And yeah, so the Shocker was in it for a little bit, and yeah, Michael Keaton as Vulture. It was fantastic. So let's move on to Devin for his number 2.
Number 2.
Number.
Welcome to Wakanda, Black Panther.
Oh, you got that Wakanda.
All right.
I was talking to Harlan earlier. I was like, I don't know if I should put Black Panther up there. He's like, well, if you don't, you're racist. I was like, what? But yeah,
I also just spilled water all over my floor, so I'll be right back.
Okay, no, you're fine, man. But yeah, so
But yeah, Black Panther.
Black Panther.
It came out at the perfect time. It was before Infinity War. We were still getting pumped for that. We needed something to fill the time until then. Introduced us to this grand, amazing world known as Wakanda. It's just hidden away in Africa, just hanging out, doing all their own things, creating their own weapons and world and living life. It's just an awesome setting. One of probably the second best villain behind Thanos and Eric Killmonger. He actually has a relatable reasoning for what he's doing. He wants to avenge his slain father and take what he thinks is the crown.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the movie 100% because like you said, Killmonger is a very relatable villain to the point where some people were actually cheering for him because it's even when Black Panther gets found up in the mountains and he's talking to his ancestors, his father and everything, and he's like why didn't you bring? He's like, all right, so you killed my uncle, your brother. And he's like, what's up, T'Chaka? Like, he's like, you didn't even bring your own nephew back with you. And he's like, this is the monster that we have created and it's our problem and we need to sort it out because yeah, Eric was very pissed, very knowledgeable I should say, but
yeah, even Ulysses Claw was just a solid villain.
Oh, Andy Serkis, absolutely.
Andy Serkis is an amazing actor. He pulled that one off.
I think Andy Serkis was even underutilized.
What's up?
I think Andy Serkis could have been utilized a lot more in Black Panther.
Yeah, I think he could have been utilized in Age of Ultron a little bit more too, as well, because he's a phenomenal actor. I totally agree. But yeah, for what he did, he was a great job. I always enjoy seeing him, playing the characters that he plays on screen. But so that was.
And this movie also introduced Shuri, one of the underrated characters in the universe, I think, just very funny and cool, and possibly an Iron Man replacement. Keep that in mind.
An Iron Man replacement. That'd be interesting.
If he kicks the dust, she's probably better technologically than he is.
That is very true. Because yeah, I mean, Spider-Man does his own thing. It's kind of like Iron Man's ward or protege or whatever, but can't really take up the mantle of Iron Man because Peter Parker's not there yet, nowhere near. So, was there anything else you'd like to touch base for Black Panther, or was that about it for you?
Pretty much sums it up.
All right, Harlan, moving on to you for your number 2, since I already did mine.
Well, my number 2 is, well, let me paint you a picture. The year is 2008.
Oh my god. Okay.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is, no one even knows that it's going to be a cinematic universe yet. We're all eager in our seats. It's springtime, it's April, it's May, the flowers are coming out, and you're in your seats and you've got your big bucket of popcorn and you're seeing Iron Man. I'm telling you, everything about Iron Man is amazing. Robert Downey Jr., a return to form. He's
AC/DC.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
the score, the music is fantastic. I think it's one of the best parts.
John Favreau it's a great director.
I honestly thought you were gonna say The Incredible Hulk. I'm not gonna lie, because both of those movies came out in 2008,
That's
and
true.
I was like,
well, my list isn't over yet. I still got number 1 to deal with.
Okay.
So, no, Iron Man truly is a good movie in every respect, not just a good superhero movie. You craft this wonderful. It's the more fun Bruce Wayne, as I like to call him. Tony Stark is this very challenged but very high tech and powerful figure, and he's shown up early in the movie, and it's sort of a redemption story for him. And I'm just a big fan of how much humor there is and how likable all the characters are. You got Jeff Bridges playing a guy named Obadiah Stane.
What a
and
name.
That's just the greatest name of all time. You just can't deny that. And I think that Iron Man I'm very surprised that it didn't make my number 1. I think I actually just switched to these two before we started recording. So, but no, Iron Man is a very, very solid movie.
I agree with you on literally every single front. I actually saw someone tweet. They did a poll like who would win in a fight between Batman and Iron Man. I actually chose Iron Man over Batman, but I think it would be really close. Like honestly, I feel like it could go either way. But I chose Iron Man just for I love Batman, absolutely love Batman, but
yeah.
So yeah, let's go into our number 1, our top movie rank for Marvel. Then we'll go into James Gunn, and then other things. So Devin, what is your number 1? We'll do a little drum roll for you.
Oh yeah, my number 1 favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, not Volume 2. That was average. But Volume 1.
The whole thing.
Volume 1, it was a perfect storm of a movie. You have this group of heroes that no one has ever heard of unless you're a diehard comics fan. I saw the trailer and I was like, what is this ragtag ass group of people
exactly
right here? And then you get peak Chris Pratt, who is just coming off Parks and Rec, and he's done a couple movies, but he hasn't blown up yet. You get Pete Chris Pratt doing one of his first major movies, and then it's just a great comedy movie, and then the soundtrack just puts it over the top, like an absolute banger of a soundtrack throughout the whole movie.
That is
makes you actually makes me want to get a record player to play that vinyl.
Yeah, actually, I listened to like the Guardians 1 and 2 mixtapes on Spotify from time to time, and there's songs on there I've never heard of, and I totally agree with you. It is they pretty much took these super low tier Marvel superheroes and brought them into the limelight, and it's a movie about family. They learn to work together even though they have their quarrels during the beginning. I do agree that the second one is nowhere as good as the first one as well. It is a very solid, definitely one of their best movies.
It's all about just a man trying to find his place in space. His mom died of cancer. He's just trying to find his place. And there's no other movie that could make you feel emotional about a talking tree who says 3 words.
Yeah, Vin Diesel gets paid a shit ton just to say those 3 words.
but they actually found a way to make that a sad scene and actually have emotional weight and levity to it.
Yeah, yeah, because every single time he says something,
We
yeah, he's actually
we are Groot.
we are Groot.
That was excellent.
Thank you. But Harlan, what is your? I'm
Well-
guessing what your number one is. But
Coming off of what Devin was saying about taking lesser known superheroes and bringing them into the limelight, I can't hide it. My number one pick is Ant-Man. I
Oh.
absolutely love Ant-Man.
I thought you were gonna
I
say
think
Thor
that-
1.
No, I was not gonna say. I was
Thank
not gonna
God.
say Thor 1. I was not gonna play y'all and say the Incredible Hulk. I think that even though there was such a historic and historic's the wrong word, but such a troubled production regarding this movie when it was in Edgar Wright's hands, and then he left the project, and
I
everyone was
really want Edgar
stuck,
Wright
and
to,
it's gonna be
to do it.
it's gonna be terrible and awful. And then you've got this no-name guy and Peyton Reed just stepping in and taking the reins. And when I saw the movie, it was fantastic. It was so enjoyable. It still had that light, fun energy that sort of I would expect that would be instilled from an Edgar Wright movie, but it fit in the sort of Marvel machine. And this is a point where they're sort of churning out these endless CG fests of blockbusters and boring, not boring, but run of the mill, action. And here's this fun. The guy gets small and he fights another small dude on a train, and
That's one of the best fight scenes ever.
Oh, that was
hilarious.
hysterical.
and this little girl's just watching, and you're like, this is so dumb, and I love every second of it.
It's very realistic too. Like, hey, what would happen if,
Mhm.
it's
Paul Rudd is a fantastic leading man.
Oh yeah.
I think Michael Douglas should get a lot more credit than he does. I think he's honestly one of the best performers in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe as this guy who's so committed. And I think the villain, the villain's all right. Is a little forgettable. He's bald,
Yeah.
and that's his character. He's got no hair, and he likes the wars and stuff. And that's fine. Sometimes you don't need a very a villain like Killmonger or a villain like Loki who's so very complex. You just need this
Mhm.
one guy who likes fighting, and you got Paul Rudd who's a bad guy but also a good guy, but he also has to care for his daughter, and then he also has got his crime buddies, and it's just fun from start to finish. I think Ant-Man is everything that a superhero movie should be. It's nothing that's going to be too heavy and too girthy and devoid of light and fun, and it's very grounded yet still has that elevated sense of wonder.
Wow,
Ant-Man.
that was beautiful.
Thank you.
It was very beautiful. All right, so I guess I'll reveal my number uno. So number one for me is Captain America: Civil War. That movie is just like, as Devin was saying earlier, like throwing the politics into it, it just works. And like Batman v Superman was out around the same time, and it didn't have the same effect for me. But Civil War is
Robert Redford. I don't think we ever brought him up, but what an actor to get in the MCU.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah, that is true.
yeah, like it's insane, and it's important to me because that movie spawned two separate, they introduced Spider-Man, like we said earlier, and Black Panther, and they both got they're both so, obviously Spider-Man was so well liked, but even with Black Panther, everyone's like, oh, like he's really cool. Like 2 movies out of 1, like that's insane. And it's just, oh my god. So the fight scenes were fantastic. The turmoil, I was totally team Iron Man because I mean, I like Captain America, but I was like, wow, you're just really sounding like a Boy Scout right now, Cap. Like, come on now. Like, you have to you can't just go willy nilly, yeah, like you want to save people, but at the same time, there's also risks to that. So it's not like you can just, go running around the world and like destroying buildings and like hurting people in the process to, save like majority of them. Yes, people are going to, be injured and die and whatnot, but I don't know. I love the Russo brothers as directors. Like, I mean, Winter Soldier did a fantastic job. Civil War obviously was just amazing, and then obviously Infinity War. But I don't know, man. Like, I never get tired of watching that movie. I never do. The jokes are great, on point, and I mean, even with Ant-Man's little appearance, for like between him and Spider-Man, they get like at least 30 minutes of screen time within the entire movie itself. And I mean, I just love the interaction that Spider-Man had with Red Wing, um, with Bucky and I'm literally blanking on his name. Falcon. Wow.
Yeah.
Red Wing is his uh little partner, his little device thing, but it was just funny to see, them interact with Spider-Man. He's like, I don't know if you've ever been in a fight before, but there's usually not this much talking. And Spider-Man's like, oh yeah, sorry. And it just, he has his little funny quips and whatnot. And, Iron Man summoning Spider-Man was like, on the rouge! And then just freaking comes in, steel cap shield. And it was just great. I just fucking love that movie. Never get tired of watching it. And again, Wanda Maximoff, Elizabeth Olsen, and you get the beautiful Scarlett Johansson, all within one movie. It's amazing. But let's just segue into James Gunn, I guess, since we're already talking about Marvel overall.
Fair enough.
So everyone probably knows, all the listeners out there, the fiasco, the crazy roller coaster that James Gunn's been on. Pretty much, lost his job through Disney because of a bunch of political nonsense, from what I'm understanding, which I think was kind of baloney to begin with. And I don't know, it was just very hard to see this happen because I watched Infinity War the other day, and there was a bonus feature called the Producers Roundtable, and pretty much all of the major not popular producers, the producers that made the more major recent movies were there, and James Gunn was there, and it was just kind of like, wow, he's not with the company anymore, but now I hear he might be either being brought back to Marvel to make a different movie. And then they said they weren't going to use his script, and then Dave Bautista's like, well, I want to request to, void my contract. And I don't know. What do you guys think about all of this craziness that's been going on?
I've been going back and forth on it since the news first broke out. It's like,
there's a lot, man. It's insane.
When the news first broke, I was just like, yeah, fire him. He said these awful jokes, and that just can't be like under Disney. But then the more you think about it, the more that comes out. They obviously had to have seen the tweets before they hired him, so they had to have known that these were out there. So why would they hire him in the first place? That's on them. And then it comes out that it was this alt-right guy who outed these tweets because he was mad that James Gunn dislikes Donald Trump, which just makes the whole situation annoying political situation where someone can just ruin someone's life by bringing up old tweets, and that's just not a path you want to go down.
Yeah, like deleted tweets as well. It's just like, imagine if someone just, your boss came out to you and said, hey, we got a little bit of intel from, these random group of people, and, like, let's just say, like some people like to post their political views on Facebook, and even though I don't really get into all that, it's that's their, their life and whatnot. But just imagine if someone just came up to you and says, hey, we're letting you go because there's a group of people who don't agree that, you don't have the same political views as them. So, see you later. And it's like a random group of people can just come up and just say, we don't like this guy for doing X, Y, and Z from like over 10 years ago, and I want to see him fired. And they're like, okay, done. And it's just like, what?
Yeah, that's just a scary precedent going forward.
It's just like, I mean, yeah, everyone's like, oh, like they were terrible tweets. And like, yes, they were, but James Gunn did apologize for them. And the fact that they were over 10 years old, and the fact that Disney hired him anyway, clearly.
Well, how do we know that Disney had viewed the tweets?
There's no way they don't see. Like, I just can't see.
I don't know how you bring up deleted tweets like that. Like, how is that a thing? I don't know. This seems like a lot of effort to get one person fired. You know what I mean?
I'd like to take a look more closely at the tweets because they all have this sort of very overt, sort of pedophilic tone to them.
They do.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, they do.
I don't know many comedians that are famous of making only explicit pedophilic jokes. I think that it's just a little odd. Personally, I think it's odd, and I think the jokes are stupid.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I don't think he should be fired over these things in the same way that. No, it's different. It's really different.
If
Because
it
you look at
was 10
someone
weeks
like,
ago,
yeah,
then there's a different
then
story. But
it's
10
different.
years,
Like if you look at Roseanne Barr and how her thing got canceled after she
Oh, she messed it up for her entire
directly,
cast. They
yeah,
fired
she messed it
everyone.
up for her entire cast. They canceled the show, and it was all because of her one, comment on Twitter. Although she's been a dedicated Republican politically
Mhm.
aligned person for a long time. Um, I think it's really tricky because I personally don't think he's been fired. I don't think that he should have been fired. I don't know if there's anyone that can carry on that Guardian spirit. They are some of the Marvel movies I have seen, um, but I think it's a big misstep. And whatever happens with Guardians 3, it's certainly going to be interesting. And I think that it's going to probably be one of the lowest grossing ones thus far. I think it's going to be bad for the overall financial status of Disney, no matter what happens.
Yeah, it's I and the cast has been very vocal about it, especially Dave Bautista, and he's okay. Like everyone's saying, oh, like he's said he's gonna quit if they don't use the script, and it's like, well, no, there's a difference between quitting and like just not showing up and not upholding your part of the bargain. And he was asking if he can be released from his contract, which is more of a civil approach instead of just saying F Disney, F, all this and just walking off set and, being completely unprofessional about it. But yeah, everyone on the main cast for Guardians, they've been sticking behind they've been behind James Gunn for this entire thing, and I think I don't know if anyone else can just like replicate that. If anything, if they don't bring him on, I think they should definitely use his script.
I'll be worried about whoever they hire to take over as director unless it's Taika Waititi. That's the only one where it's like I could definitely see, because Ragnarok definitely has Guardians of the Galaxy type vibes and the 80s nostalgia and all that kind of stuff. So if he has a clear enough schedule, which I kind of doubt because he's one of the hottest directors out there right now, but if they can get him to do it, I'd feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah,
but other than that, I don't know.
I would say either Taika or the Russo brothers. Honestly, if they were up for the challenge, that
they're working on Avengers. There's no way they got time.
Exactly, and that's the problem that we run into there. So that's kind of like a no-go overall. But I can't really think of anyone else, to be completely honest. It's very unfortunate to hear all this craziness happening. It just sucks. It's overall it's just Disney. I understand they're family friendly, but like Devin said earlier, they must have known about the tweets beforehand. They just don't want to deal with the backlash of in today's world where if you don't agree with my views or my opinions of anything and everything, then I'm gonna make life a living hell for you. And that's I don't know what the whole context of this radical group or whatever said to Disney. Like, if you try to rehire him, X, Y, and Z will happen. And yeah, I don't know. There's not too much else to talk about. It's just very unfortunate.
I'm gonna say one more thing, and it might be a little controversial. I was reading a little bit more up on the situation regarding James Gunn, and apparently there have been a few photos of him at a Halloween party, or what Breitbart, a very reliable news.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's truly the highest standard of intelligent reporting, claiming it's sort of a they're calling it a pedophilia party. I don't know if you want to put the image in as an overlay, but that clearly just does not looks like what it is. But
that doesn't sound good.
I think that I personally, when I see so many jokes and gaffes and tweets regarding of that sort of specific subject. James Gunn's a weird dude. He's made some weird movies in the past. I think I don't know if I don't want to say shit, but I think there might be a little more that's not being completely displayed for everybody. I think there
Right.
might be a little more to his character that's not so savory.
That is true. That is true. You know,
It's a possibility. I'm not saying that to the truth, but
Oh
I
yeah,
think there might be a little more than Disney's telling us beyond those tweets.
that is true. Everyone carries, you know, their baggage and
Mhm.
whatnot, but yeah, you never really know until the truth actually comes out. So I guess it's just anyone's guess, supposedly. But
Also, he made the movie Super, which is a terrible movie. I hate it so much. So I hate Super. I'm putting that out there.
Oh my gosh. All right, so let's just move on to the last bit of news that we're going to talk about. So the Oscars are introducing a new category, and it is the Outstanding Popular Film,
Yeah.
which some people aren't happy about. I can't say that I'm super happy about it. I mean, I watch the Oscars from time to time, but it's just I feel like other movies should have won, you know, other films, I should say, should win over others.
There's a big difference between movie and film.
Yeah, I know. It's
No, I'm kidding.
people are like, "Oh, it's a film. It's not a movie." I'm like, "Oh, shut up."
Mhm.
Like whatever. I know they announced 3 major changes, including the shortened ceremony, a brand new category for outstanding uh achievement in popular film.
Mhm.
I kind of sort of read into it, but what do you
Well,
guys?
let's talk about the actual changing of the length of the ceremony, because I think
Yeah,
that's horrible.
that's my only concern about adding this new category is that it takes away from other smaller categories that don't get the limelight that these movies that are popular and big are already getting because they're getting all the box office and the views. So
The
they're taking
Academy
away.
Awards exactly are already this bloated 4-hour long at times affair that are just filled with dreadful jokes and unnecessary skits and everything. And I think that by diminishing probably in my opinion, probably the more important categories when it comes to creating that final film. And I mean, if they're talking about pushing the technical awards like sound editing and sound mixing and production design, those are all incredibly important. If we didn't have sound in any of the movies, we'd be I mean, we'd have silent movies, of course, but I don't know. That's not the best argument, but
No, you're
it's
fine.
just there's so many important things that aren't even categories now, like ensemble cast and stunt work, and I even think marketing might even be important to
Oh, absolutely.
certain aspects of the film industry.
Right.
But I think that adding a popular film category is gonna be really detrimental to the overall meaningfulness or meaning, I guess is the proper word, for the ceremony. I mean, we could be looking at if we just go back a few years, like what counts as a popular movie? Like
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Avatar
figure
was
out.
nominated in 2009. Does that mean that it can't be nominated for Best Picture because it was like it made a ton of money and it was really popular? What does that mean?
Or Dark Knight, honestly, because I think that movie should have won some Oscars.
It wasn't even
It
nominated
did.
for Best Picture at the time.
Well, yeah,
Heath Ledger won an Oscar.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah.
So I guess
At
you
the
could
time, it wasn't nominated, right?
you could argue that maybe the popular film opens up more opportunities for the blockbusters, but do they really need it? Isn't the money their reward?
I mean, I feel like they would just name a Marvel movie anyway because Marvel has been doing exceptionally well. I mean, obviously, you know they have their hits and misses as we discussed earlier, but like, I mean, I don't know. It's just so weird. It's easy to imagine, like with this new category, it was inspired probably by the success of like Black Panther or Thor Ragnarok or Infinity War, and it's obviously no secret that Disney is setting, you know, and setting an awards campaign in motion for the films in general, and not just angling at like technical nods. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what's considered a popular film because there's a lot of good movies out this year.
Yeah. Here's another thing to think about regarding that popular film thing. Out of so far, we're 2/3 of the way through the year.
Hmm.
Out of the top 10 highest grossing movies, if we're going to judge that based off of popularity, 3 of them were primarily released in China and didn't see an American release. So are we going to be counting some foreign films that do exceedingly well
Oh
overseas as
yeah.
popular movies?
Huh.
That's just another thing to think about.
That is true. I don't know. The Oscars is messing everything up. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, like 10 years ago, the Oscars didn't nominate Christopher Nolan's critically acclaimed, for
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, and it's just, it's ridiculous. I don't know. Like clearly, I feel like the movies that have like more of like allegory like spewed all over it, or like deal with race in general, just automatically wins because it's there's
The
a
political
word
issues
for
at the
it.
time.
Yeah, like there's a word for it, and I can't remember what it was, but
Socially conscious, maybe, is what you're trying to.
I think yeah, because it's like, oh my gosh, like that's so true. But like, no matter how many times you make a movie about like how terrible racism is, people still fucking do it. Like it's just, you know what I mean? It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a lesson learned. So why don't we just give it to the movie that everyone's talking about? Like I mean, like when Lord of the Rings came out, like especially Return of the King.
Yeah.
Stupid amounts of awards, man. Like, oh my gosh, the movie's fantastic, and people praised it for what it was and acknowledged, the hard work and the dedication and the realism of of all three films, especially the third one. It's just like, come on, like, I don't really know. It's up in the air for me. I mean, sometimes I watch the Oscars, sometimes I don't. I guess it just depends on what movies come out that year. Like it took forever for what's this for Johnny? No, not Johnny Depp. Leonardo DiCaprio to win his own. Was it Oscar or Grammy?
It was his Oscar,
Oscar,
yeah.
yeah.
He did it.
Grammy.
I'm all up snap. But yeah, and it's just like he's made a shit ton of really good movies. Like he's a phenomenal actor, and it's like, why did it take him so long to get an Oscar? Like especially like after Revenant. Like I mean, actually, wait.
Well, he won it for that.
That's when he won the Oscar.
Okay, that's right. He won it for that. But it's like I feel like a lot of people weren't really paying attention to him until Revenant came out. I'm like, he was in Django Unchained. He was in, oh my gosh, what's that one book?
He was in The Aviator. I
Yeah,
thought that was his
yeah,
best
and he was in
performance.
Great Gatsby. Like, I like that movie a lot. I thought he did a fantastic job. And Wolf of Wall Street, like, come on, like,
I wanted him to win Wolf of Wall Street so bad.
he was fantastic in that movie. That's every man's dream. Literally right there.
The scene where he's crawling from his car to the house.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
How did he pull that off? I was dying in the theater.
Well, like, just to be clear to viewers out there, when I say every man's dream, obviously, without the drug
Quaaludes.
But the women weren't bad.
Margot Robbie's to premiere.
Well, based off of this podcast, we know where Christian's mind
Yeah,
is currently.
apparently.
So I'm looking over this past year's films. I wanted to ask you guys so far, what do you think is at least a lock for a nomination, and what do you think might win the quote unquote best popular film?
For past years and for like 2017?
No, I mean for the movies
18.
that came out this year.
Okay.
Infinity War is the easy answer.
I would say Infinity War and Black Panther. I'm trying to. I think A Quiet Place would. I think it should.
Interesting.
I mean that movie. It was. I mean, because there's been a lot of talk with like should theaters have like the subtitles down at the bottom for hard of hearing, people who have like more of like hearing impaired effects. Yeah. So and some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. And when I went to go see A Quiet Place, I mean, I was used to seeing sign language because I kind of learned a little bit throughout college, but I just thought it was as well put together. The fact that the younger, the oldest daughter, the older of the three kids, before the little one got fucking snatched up in the beginning. I was like, Jesus, this is gonna be a good movie. She's actually deaf in real life, so it kind of made it more meaningful for her to play that part. I never saw Shape of Water. I think that came out last year.
Oh yeah,
That's an Oscar
that
winner.
one last year.
That wouldn't be the
Yeah.
popular pick.
Absolutely fabulous.
And it's
Best movie of the year, hands down.
I'm trying to figure out what else have we seen. I mean, Mission Impossible is cool. I think
That
Teen Titans Go.
would be up there.
Not gonna lie, I think Teen Titans Go should win
No.
some. Yes.
No.
Yes.
I think here's my opinion.
It was a great parody of its own. It was amazing. But
I
go
believe
ahead.
that the Academy is not gonna go for the blockbusters. Even if they do, then I think Black Panther is gonna win it hands down. I think that is
I
the
think
movie
so.
that everyone was talking about early on in the year. Is we need to get some Oscars for this superhero movie. But if they go sort of like a half route where they go for movies that are good and that were seen by a lot of people, but that didn't quite make the cut, I think something like 8th Grade might even sneak in there for a nomination.
Or
And
Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to Bother You, definitely, because those are both movies that everybody who saw them loved them, as far as I know. Maybe not with Sorry to Bother You, but 8th Grade was definitely
Yeah, that's
critically
true.
acclaimed
You know
as an
what?
audience.
I would even throw Christopher Robin in there. I mean, it was a very generic
Even so,
story,
yeah.
but like, if you are it was just a good movie that every parent should go see. And anyone in general, like it brought back so many memories, and it was just a great lighthearted film that showed the importance of family. This overall, like it was very basic, but it was great acting. Everyone, great chemistry on set between everyone, and yeah, I don't know. That's just my take. I think Tag.
I'm gonna go ahead.
That was such a funny movie, dude.
I love Tag so much. Tag is an amazing movie,
It
and Jeremy
really
broke both
was.
his arms for that shit. That
Yes.
was crazy.
Dedication.
But my actual pick for the most popular movie of the year that I think will have a good chance, because it's not going to be nominated for a Best Picture at least. I think Isle of Dogs is going to be.
I've never even heard of that movie.
Really? Well,
not.
then I guess it's not going to win then.
No, I probably just have to go and see it.
It's it came out earlier in the year. It's the Wes Anderson stop motion about the Japanese dog island.
And it spells out "I love dogs."
Yeah. I actually think Axel has a good chance.
No,
and if not, then I think they might give it to Incredibles too, because everybody.
You see, yeah,
it's possible.
It was
I wasn't
such
the
a
biggest
good movie.
fan, but
it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I loved every minute of it. There was never a dull moment, and a lot of good messages in that movie. For it being set in like what? It was like the 60s or 70s. I think it's the 60s. Like there were so many modern themes within that movie. And I was just like, wow, that's just great. But yeah, I'm trying to think, what else have I seen this year? I've seen so many movies, man. I feel like Mission Impossible is gonna win something. I just don't care for it all that much. Like, I mean, if I don't know. Like I don't care for spy movies, I should say, as much. And it's just I don't know. It was long as fuck though. God. What else have I seen? There's just been so many movies. Okay, so even though it's a documentary film, I went to go see this movie called The King. And it was about Elvis Presley and how his life is a reflection of how of the life of our country, like America in general, and how when he spiraled into like his drug addictions and whatnot, like when someone says, "Oh, like Elvis is about to OD," that means that like that America, the country, is on a downward spiral. It was pretty interesting.
Well, there's already a documentary category, so
yeah. But
and if there is a documentary that would
win. It was
if there is a documentary that would win popular, I think it would be "Won't You Be My Neighbor." I think Mr. Rogers.
Oh yeah, see, I haven't seen that yet, and I do.
Great movie.
I want to see that so good.
Also, Three Identical Strangers.
Crazy movie.
That's
right.
Please, everyone needs to see it.
You saw it, or is it already out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been out for probably a couple months now.
Oh, see, yeah. See, like when you guys are like when we did our 8th grade review, I was like, "What the hell is this movie? I've never even heard of it." And then you guys posted something, I'm like, I think I have seen something about this. It was just, I mean, it's an indie film, so unfortunately, they don't really get as much.
Oh, 8th grade's gonna get some Oscar love.
Oh
I
no,
guarantee you.
absolutely.
They're
I
getting
think this.
they're getting original screenplay at least.
Yeah, I
Oscar
think this year the indie
nomination.
films are going to show a little bit more. They're going to have a little bit more love for it.
Well, they always have love for indie films. Like Lady Bird last year was a big one.
I'm calling it. This year is, I think, it's another gay year. I think it's going to be the miseducation of Cameron Post taking home Best Picture.
What the hell is
I've
that?
never heard of it actually.
Chloe Grace Moretz goes to Jesus Camp, and she joins forces with a bunch of other LGBT
I
teens.
did see that that trailer. I know what you're talking about.
I think since a lot of people really wanted Lady Bird last year, I think it's the year of the sort of female-driven, very low-key movie. I think that's that or Black Klansman. I think those are the only two that thus far I think have shown that drive for Best
especially
Picture.
strong women. That's it's just. I mean, everyone always gives. I feel like people just give superhero movies such a bad rap in general because they're like, oh, should they even be considered in this category? And it's like, yeah, it's like we have the technology, we have the story writing in order to make the superhero movies that people have been waiting for years.
Well, what's the point of giving them more recognition with an Oscar nomination when that's the main way these smaller movies even get people to watch it? Is they can slap on Oscar nominated film on the cover of the movie, and that's how a lot of people see those movies because they're like, oh, it must be good. It's Oscar nominated, but everyone's already seeing the popular movies, so it's like, what's the point of just tacking on because people have already seen it?
Yeah, it's such a general like topic, like most popular movies. Like, but what counts as a popular movie? You know what I mean? Like, is it box office sales? Is it?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know. It's so strange.
When are the Oscars usually? Like February or something?
February or March, yeah.
Should be interesting. We got a while to go, so.
Yeah, I'm honestly hoping. Well, it probably won't happen, but the new Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I'm very excited to see. Crimes of Grindelwald. Depending on how well that movie does, I would like it to be nominated for something. I don't know if it will win anything because the first one.
I mean, any movie can get nominated. Suicide Squad won for best makeup.
Oscar-winning Suicide Squad.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. No, it's just
Bad Grandpa also won.
That's true.
An
Did it win or
Oscar.
was it not?
It won an Oscar.
Yeah, it might have just been nominated, but
I really
still.
hope Bright doesn't win anything. No way, that came out last year. We're good.
But yeah, I
What
think
you
that's.
mean? Elf cops and trolls.
That
in
movie was
LA.
so terrible. There was this allegory just shitted all over that movie. It was like, we get it. Fairy lives don't matter. Oh, I wonder what that's in reference to. I'm just tired of the whole race political thing because it just divides people more than brings them together.
Well, on that note, Christian's racist. And good night, everybody.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah. I guess we'll see what happens because there's a lot more movies to come out. Crazy Rich Asians.
No.
About 100%. It's bringing it home.
It's bringing it home. That and Happy Time Murders. Let's go.
Oh, this is gonna be a crazy month. This is gonna be an absolutely insane month.
This year is just it's exploded with movies. Like, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. I mean, do you guys think Solo Star Wars Story is gonna win anything?
I love the first hour. So
I did too, man. I went to go see it to see my.
All right, we're just spiraling at this point.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta end this thing.
Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you like our content. And we'll see you guys later. And thank you all for coming out.
Thor Ragnarok sucks.
I'm leaving.